Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Alberts, the founder of Peer Guidance. We're a purpose before profit group that love. We're like an on-demand service. We come in, we help you, when we get the hell out. I mean, basically that's it. It's not about me here, less of me, more of everybody else. Makes for a better conversation. So that's what we honestly focus on. But scrolling across the bottom is Founders Coffee. Again, it's going to be every Tuesday, 7:30 a.m. at Red's Diner in Kensington. We have a special announcement coming up with the STEM Academy, the old Smart Building. We're going to be hosting Founders Coffee there on the 25th, and they're going to give everyone a tour of the facility. So we're excited about that, talking about our youth, talking about all the great things that are going on with our youth and what's going on at the STEM Academy. But I'm sitting here in the beautiful Toronto. You'd think I'm in West Edmonton Mall in a theme room with the mall behind me and the trees and the clouds but hey, usually I'm in the same city and I'm not. But I'm so excited about this. Next week's the Future Summit and Josh Rainbow, the founder, and he's running it. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Jade. How are you doing?
Oh, man, I just love it. As I said before we went live, this is my favorite part of my week. I love it. I love talking to inspirational people like yourself. It keeps me young.
Well, I appreciate the kind words and energy. I also appreciate having me back on the podcast here. Hopefully, we didn't do too bad the first time.
Well, you're probably going to be one of my first 3-time guests. I'm hoping, which means that the summit is successful and we're crushing it. So I love that side of it.
Let's go. I'm here for that. Yeah, I'm always down to come back and have a good chat with you, my friend.
Oh, yeah. Well, again, I'm in Toronto, so if you hear sirens in the background, don't be alarmed. They're not coming to get me. But why don't we start a little bit off about you and your passion for the tech ecosystem, DataCon, and how you evolved, and why you evolved into the Future Summit before we dive into the Future Summit itself.
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, thank you again, Jade, for having me on. So really, my background in tech stems from moving here about 8 years ago. Immediately, I wanted to get involved as much as possible, learn a bunch of stuff coming from Edmonton, so just a little bit up north. But really, there wasn't much of a tech scene back then. It was still growing quite a bit. So a lot of the time, there'd be some small incubator events, more so for peers to share knowledge. The YYC Data Society and YYC DataCon were kind of built off of that. But I would often back then just travel around Calgary, travel around Western and Eastern Canada to meet people. For my career, I ended up starting as a quant, then moved over to energy tech, started building software products and doing consulting on US oil assets. Then transitioned to build my own consulting shop, which I've done for about the last 4 years. And along the path, whether it was in university or post, like I'd always be involved in hosting events. It started for free pizza and beer, trying to get jobs back in university. And then it evolved into, hosting the after party at one of the first DataCons, then leading the DataCon, growing and scaling it. We had about 2,000 people earlier this year at the BMO Center. That was an amazing journey. Super grateful for that. But there was something missing for that from me, mostly for the fact that it was more technical in nature. And I had spent my career dealing with executives who frankly didn't care about the technology. They just cared about the ROI and the business outcomes. And so as I had some clients launching data center projects, and then, I know the one Bitdeer project that we were speaking about, I believe last time, it kind of just gave me more of a reason to say, hey, there's something here. I had a number of advisors that were like, you're kind of good at this, but like, how do you scale it up? How do you level it up? And that's really how Future Summit was born. We wanted to be able to deliver not just an amazing event by packing the house, but having very influential leaders in the space come to Calgary, because we have an amazing ecosystem here. You know that, I know that, everyone involved knows that. It's something special. Partners from all over the globe are coming for Future Summit. And so for us, we feel incredibly lucky about this time in life that we're in, where Calgary is like booming, it's growing, like it's explosive, everybody's happy about it. But also there's a lot of major projects that allow the legacy industries to connect with the tech industry. And so we thought it was a perfect storm to launch Future Summit in. We've been very happy about the results so far, and we're just going to keep kicking on.
It's good. I mean, we've gotten to know each other here over the last, probably 2.5, 3 years, and your drive and your passion to bring that community together is second to none. So I guess on a personal level, I mean, I know how hard you work. I know where you're going. I know you're running around with your head cut off, and I appreciate it. But I just, most people don't. So I just want people to understand. Tell us the last year and how hard you've worked, or even go to the last 6 months and how hard you've worked and what you've done to put this together, because I want people to appreciate the effort that you're putting in to make these collisions happen.
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, I took a big step back from my consulting business to put more effort into this. I have a few legacy retainer clients that, kept on, but it was one of those things where, for me, I've been able to do this for free, like unpaid as a volunteer for the last 7 years. And now we had the ability to do something bigger. I felt a need to dive right in. I've been pretty much on the road for the last 30 weeks, traveling from East Coast, West Coast, down south, all over the US. I went to Europe, really just to find some of the best and brightest minds that I could. We built a team of 15 people in the last 6 months that are helping to bring this together. We have 2 full-time staff now for Future Summit and 5 part-time. We've been able to connect with over 45 partners from all over the globe. The farthest one away is in Australia. I pretty much don't sleep, which is like something we've talked about a lot, but it's a part of the game. I think when you love something as much as I love Future Summit, it just like is a natural part of you. It's not something that I'm choosing. It's just like my body wakes up every single day alive and ready to go. We have over 90 speakers, which doesn't seem like a lot when you say the number. But for anyone who knows, wrangling 90 executives in a room over a certain period of time is very, very, very difficult, because they all have admins, they all have schedules, they all have responsibilities outside of this. And so, to me, that just shows that we're delivering a different level in terms of value for them to be able to set their time aside. But yeah, I mean, like, we've talked about this so many times. There's so many ups and downs with starting a business, but I think when we look at the net benefit of what we're able to do for the city of Calgary, for what we're able to bring in terms of business deals and partners together, we're super ecstatic with what we've been able to do so far, and we're just getting started.
No, I agree. And I know it's hard for you to kind of say that, and it's never about you. And that's kind of how most people operate, but I do appreciate you sharing. And we do appreciate the time that you do put into hosting an event like this. Again, we've had a lot of conversations. We know how hard it is. I'm in Toronto right now. We're hosting our summit here, and all the speakers, and I mean, we only have about 30 speakers for a 1-day summit, so we know what it is. We know what it's like, setting up the pre-calls, setting up the speaker conversations, making sure everybody's on board, making sure everybody knows each other. I mean, there's so much work that goes into running something like this. So I want to get into the nuts and bolts of this. So you mentioned you have 90 speakers. And, for anybody that wants more information right now, just click on the website. It's in the comment section, futuresummit.ca. It's on the screen, or .ai, sorry. Let's talk about some of these speakers.
Too, actually. We own both. We own .ca as well, so they'll both go to the same one, funny enough.
Perfect. So let's talk about these speakers. So what kind of speakers do you have? What kind of topics are you going to be covering? And what kind of extra events? Let's talk about the nuts and bolts of this conference.
Yeah. So when we're looking at it, really what we kind of did is we boiled down what makes an event successful. And a lot of it is usually the side events that happen, especially when you have an event with multi-thousands of people there. It's very hard to get them all in one place. So what we did for Future Summit is we actually went and set up a number of curated conversations, the smallest one being 10 and the largest one being about 200. And we did that over the course of 3 days. So we have 5 events that are like that, starting with our VIP reception at November 18th on Tuesday. Then we have on the 19th, we have 3 events going on simultaneously. We have our data center roundtable with some of the top leaders from the data center space across Canada and North America. We have the founders and funders dinner, where founders who are at least $250,000 in ARR or have started raising a round are invited to join our talented group of funders and the amazing speaker lineup that we have, as well as the sponsors that are making an event possible. We also have our salon with 3 keynote speakers. It's on unlocking Canada's AI potential. And so we have 1 speaker from Calgary, 1 from Montreal, and 1 from Toronto, all coming together to say, hey, this is how we see Canada's AI potential unlocked. They're going to be doing TEDx style speeches, and then they're going to be engaging. It's going to be a night full of fun and mystery. When we look at the general conference, we also have events like Building the Next Unicorn with Kelly Schmidt and Darcy Tur, which is actually, absolutely going to be insane. I'm very much looking forward to being a fly on the wall, even though I technically don't qualify. I hope they won't mind me being in that room. And then when we look at the rest of the general programming that's open to people who are buying the visionary passes, which is the only one that we have left, we're sold out of the Catalyst and Innovator passes. The visionary pass gets you in to see all of the panels, all the keynotes, all the workshops that are open and not invite only. We have leaders from legacy industry like Jim Kinnear and Ian McGregor who are coming in to mesh with the new level of AI and world and everything that means. We have conversations on the future of money and what that looks like, and borderless control. So we have Colea from your group at the Canadian Bitcoin Consortium, as well as Didier Laval, who, funny enough, I almost worked for once upon a time, coming in from Tetra Digital Group to be talking with one of the banking groups that we have here in town on really what does this next generation of borderless money look like. How are we going to prepare for it? Didier's talked about this so many times. Canada doesn't have its own coin, its own stable coin, and we're currently using the US. So what does that mean for us as a society? So really, when we look at it, you have some amazing policy leaders, you have some amazing legacy business leaders, you have some amazing technology leaders, all coming together to say, hey, we have energy, we have finance, we have health, we have the future work, robotics, all these amazing industries that are revolutionizing what we have possible in Canada, but not just Canada, also the world. What is it going to look like on Canadian soil? What are our partnerships going to look like? How do we want to run this? And really, how do we make the most amount of money? Because Future Summit's about cutting deals at the end of the day.
Well, thanks for giving a shout out to the Canadian Bitcoin Consortium, Kalea and DJ. Actually, I'll be with DJ here for the next couple days, so it'll before he flies to Calgary from Toronto here. So that's exciting, and a lot of those topics that you're hosting, that you're having, and putting panel discussions on are very relative to what's going on. And I'm just going to say for Alberta now, I'm going to focus on Alberta here, right? We have the data centers, we have Minister Glubish doing it, we have all the Nates, on it. We have Minister Nally. We do trade missions, with them to Texas. So I think when I look at the speaker lineup and what you have, I mean it's very impressive and very. One of the things that I know that all the speakers that, when I look, and there's 90 of them, right? They're all approachable. They're all going to be hanging around. They're not just coming in and then fucking off, right? They're going to be there. You're going to be able to talk to them. So, I mean, I think that's such an important part of a conference.
Yeah. And, on that point, I'm sure everybody's felt this where you're go, trying to get as much as possible in the conference. For our audience and the experience that we're trying to deliver, what we've actually done is we've baked in about 30 to 40 minutes after every single panel where we don't have sessions running continuously. And so you can stay in the room. You don't have to relocate. You can talk to those speakers. No one's rushing off. I mean, unless you have softball practice. Inside joke. And that way you really get to connect, because the whole point of setting aside the time to come to these events is to connect, learn from other leaders, whether it's the other speakers that are on the panel, which, obviously a lot of them are from the same industry, so they know each other already. It's just a nice place to reconnect. But the audience members, like everybody who's coming here is very senior. They're usually deploying budgets. I'm pretty sure a lot of them are nervous about this new age of technology and how it's going to incorporate into their businesses. Their leaders and their boards have given them mandates to incorporate at all costs. Like you talked about, data centers is a big part of discussion. And I think demystifying what that means, but also talking about how, for example, AHS is going to do all these amazing agentic workflows to reduce wait times in emergency rooms. Like, in order for them to be able to do that, we need the compute on site. And to have the compute on site, you need to have more data centers built out. And for more data centers to be built out, you need major projects and energy and all these things. So it's a whole consortium of very, very interconnected webs. And it's a very exciting and lively discussion. A lot of tech leaders, a lot of like health tech, fintech, they're super excited to get to understand more about the data center space and the energy space. And I think vice versa, a lot of the legacy energy leaders are like, okay, now I can make money off of health tech and fintech. Tell me more. So it's super exciting. And I think, it only goes to show what's going on in the ecosystem in the community. Like, more and more people are looking to understand each other. One, how their businesses work, and two, how they can work together. We spoke to the managing director of AWS on our podcast a couple weeks back, and he was giving me stats where I think it was 150,000 businesses at the start of the year were using AI, and now it's like 650,000. And I was like, that's just mind blowing. Like, it's a 5x multiple. And so obviously businesses are super excited about it. They're trying to incorporate it as much as possible. They want to leverage it to, see an ROI, decrease costs, whatever it looks like, or just expand. And so, I'm super ecstatic for the partners that we've been able to bring in. It's going to be absolutely crazy. Like, I know those 3 days are going to fly by, and then I'm like, okay, this happens every time, Jade. It's like, I'm so tired, but let's do it again. And then I wake up, man, I'm like, okay, start planning the next one.
Yeah, you're I know. The funny thing is, we're talking before, and you're like, "Oh yeah, I'm going to head away. I'm going to a beach. I'm going to take some time off. I'm throwing my phone away. I need my me time, right? I need to down." But it's like, okay, what can we do? How can we change this? What are we going to do next year? It's already going in your head. I can see it.
So I've already started planning. I will say, we're looking at an event at the end of April, and then during Stampede, obviously, because we love Calgary Stampede, and then back again in the fall. So I've already started kicking off that, but I'm like, we do need a little bit of rest because it has been pretty much 30 weeks of like nonstop travel. And between that and trying to keep up with physio, all the regular life stuff that you have to go, I'm just like, come on, let's go, body. Like, keep going. I got this. Like, mentally, we're there, but we're getting older.
Oh yeah, but that's what keeps us young.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Some of the old guys that I see, like, they're doing a lot more travel than me. I'm like, oof, I gotta take lessons. They're like, health and longevity. Health and longevity is the play.
Yeah. I was actually having this conversation with somebody in the gym, and we're talking about about sports and playing squash and doing other things, and I said, you don't get old because you quit, or you don't get old because you quit because you get old, or you don't. How's it? You don't get old because you quit. You get old because you quit. Like, fuck, I can't even remember how it is. But I was just like, I'm like, that's, you got to stay active. You got to do it. You got to keep your mind, your body, like everything's got to be in sync, and you got to do it. And I was having a meeting with a young entrepreneur, Alicia, yesterday. And, she's like, oh man, I stopped going to the gym. I stopped doing this. And I was like, whoa, hold on. Before we talk about your company, let's talk about you, right? Like, get in there, get your routine back, go for a walk, go, she just moved here, go to Devonian Gardens, like in the winter, we got the plus 15, like get out there, right? You got to look after yourself, because a company is only as healthy as its founder. And during Small Business Week, Sarah and myself are giving a conversation on mental health and on what you need to do. And again, you and I have had this over coffees, right? Talking about looking after yourself. So I'm happy to hear that you're taking time away. You're always going to be thinking about the next one. And we don't want to talk about the next one until next year. So, but I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit here.
Okay.
I guess if you were to say, not the extracurricular, the events that you kind of have, like the founders and funders, what two, kind of topics that you have out of all the panels that are you most excited about?
Oof.
You don't have to say who's on them. I don't want you to put people on the spot, but
Yeah. I'm gonna cheat. I have the schedule here. Okay, so first and foremost, I'm super excited about our aerospace industry in Alberta. That's growing. I mean, the aerospace industry in general, but I've had a really couple cool conversations recently with some of the leaders that we have coming out. So there's one on AI in the sky, autonomy, defense, and the next flight frontier. When everybody thinks about aerospace, I think, well, I'm not going to assume that everybody thinks this, but my initial thought was like, oh, commercial air travel, like all this kind of stuff. And then I'm hearing about drone technology and how they're incorporating this in flights for defense and all this different stuff in the military applications, and then bringing it back to the public sector on the commercial side. So I think just from a pure curiosity standpoint, I'm super excited about that. But I think for Alberta specifically, there are two sessions which I think are super impactful. One is on essentially energy and the next $1 trillion boom. And so what that means is, how do we create an amazing industry off of the existing legacy industries here from an energy standpoint to create more power, create more photons, drive compute costs down, at least here, and essentially diversify our economy based on the backbone of what we already have, which has additional benefits to LNG Canada and everything that's going on there. And then conversely, it's the ag sector. So there's I think a little bit of a clash between those two sectors right now when it comes to people want to launch data centers, but they don't want it to impact our way of life. Like, Alberta is an amazing ecosystem. We're so blessed and lucky to live in a place like this. Like, I think 90% of the honey in Canada comes from Alberta, like some crazy stats that I learned this year. And so I actually set up a discussion with one of our news partners to have not just data center leaders, but farmers that are looking to join the data center discussion or more technical, give them to them. And so they can write kind of this like middle child, stepchild discussion where like data centers are like the new cool thing and everybody wants that child. Everybody wants to hang out with that kid. And then ag is like the middle child that's kind of like somewhat forgotten, but super important to like human life, like in general.
Yeah.
And so I think the dichotomy between those two discussions, as more education comes out, obviously we want these major projects to come through, but we want them to come through in a way that doesn't degrade from what we already have. So I think those are two that I'm super, super excited for, and I think are super impactful, partly because of the leaders that we have, but also because of the point in life and time that we're in, where they're kind of going back and forth, and they're like, "Hey, we want to dance, but who's going to ask who first, and what does that look like, and what does the partnership look like going on?" So I'm super stoked for those two.
Oh, I love it. And I want to throw in a conversation for next year, and plant the seed for yourself. Is I would love to see a conversation on SMRs, and get something like that. We got like the MLA Chantal De Jong, who's out of Strathmore. I'm sure she would love to. Obviously, we have Premier Smith, and everybody's on board. It's one of the 5 main announcements in Prime Minister Carney's, and there's 6 more coming out tomorrow. I would love to, because there's so much, and I think in a year there's going to be a little bit more clarity around about how it's going, what's going on. So I'm going to plant that one in your seed for next year.
I like that. We do have there will be a discussion. Actually, it's called let me pull it up here. It's called Energy XI, the carbon-free race to 1 trillion. That one will touch on SMRs. Yeah. But only for the fact that when you look at SMRs and you look at data centers, they're both major projects and they're both new. And so it's kind of like the chicken before the egg. Like, we can get SMRs, but then are we going to hook it up to a data center that's a major project, which already has like a 3% success rate of going through? So I'm completely with you. I think SMRs are an amazing form of technology. We've been talking to partners who've been tinkering behind the scenes for the last few years. And I'm really excited to see what Premier Smith and the rest of the regulatory individuals come forth and say, hey, this is how we want SMRs to play in our ecosystem. So
No,
we'll definitely have that on there.
and I mean, it's so early in that conversation, and there's a lot of stuff floating around about it. So I think next year will probably be a very good topic. But I mean, I digress. So I guess I know now that you've kind of, again, I'm talking with Josh Rainbow here, the founder of the Future Summits, running next week, Tuesday to Thursday. Get your tickets. Click on the futuresummit.ai website. It's in the comment section. What's your plans like for the Future Summit? Is the Future Summit going to be an annual thing in Calgary, once a year? Or are you looking at expanding this throughout North America? What are your plans for Future Summit?
Yeah, I love this question. I think when we look at North America, I'm trying to take a more of a long view on it. I think actually that's one of the things that I normally do, and was probably one of the reasons why I wasn't really good at the start of my career. I just was looking too far ahead. Um, for North America, we really see Calgary as a hub. I think we'll continue to travel and bring partners to different parts, at least for the foreseeable future. But I think we'll continue to call Calgary home, and we'll continue to build out an amazing group here. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. Like all across Canada, people are moving here to Alberta and Calgary. They're wanting to build a life here. We have a lot of people who recently came up from the U.S. When we look at Future Summit and the longevity of it, like when I'm looking at our 3-year plan, for 2027, we already are looking at international events. So there's 2 that we're looking at right now, Singapore and the UAE. Made some friends in both as a part of the partner and speaker, acquisition this past year. And they're super excited. I think when we look at those different demographics, we want to make sure that we fit in well. So it likely won't look the same as events that look here, but it will have the same flair, it will have the same soul, it will have the same values that we have. But I think one thing that's come out of it is every partner who said, I tapped out my budget, can I get into something in the spring? Like I said, I'm working on something for the spring that I think will drive a lot of value for our audience. It'll definitely be a little bit smaller and more curated. But when we look at really the value that gets driven, you see it's in the round tables, it's in the 40-person rooms. If we can do those on a massive scale once a year, we're going to be very, very, very happy. But I think as we continue to grow our network and our partners and our sponsors, we'll continue to look to drive value in the ways that we know how, which is getting people together, bringing them, hosting them, and allowing them to really break bread and understand each other's point of views. I think that's one of the most important things that comes out of bringing people together. It's, understanding their point of view and not necessarily agreeing with it, but taking it in and saying, hey, this is how Jade thinks. Let me take that back and see what I want to do with it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's one thing I also love about our ecosystem is, I don't think anybody here takes it personally. I know I don't, and anybody that I know that they don't. Let's have a healthy and open and honest conversation about what we're doing. Doesn't matter if it's about ag tech, life science, drones, SMRs, data centers, Bitcoin mining centers, like whatever. Like let's talk about it. Let's get everybody in the room and I know for us, even at the Bitcoin consortium, we've done the big summits. We've gone away from them to little summits. We usually do about 5 or 6 round tables a year and 2 trade missions. So, like these smaller events, I love. I mean, personally, I like getting intimate. I like getting into the weeds. I like having those one-on-one or one-on 5, 6, 7, 10 conversations with people, because that's where shit gets done.
Yeah. And I mean, again, like I'll say this, like when I've talked to our partners, I think there's a huge transition in general from the enterprise groups, from the big trade shows, at least in Canada. I think in the US there's still a thing, but I've even attended a few events in the US this year that they went away from that. Is more like the lounge, the experience, like, let's just have really good conversation.
Yeah.
We've coined a term for Future Summit. It's the anti-social network, social network. And it's because everybody's so entrenched in their online world. But outside of that, what do you have? They want to connect, they want to get together. And so if you can have a social network that exists in person, curated, gets the right people in the room, whether it's by sector, focused on things like Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, or it's something in the energy space, data center space, those are so powerful, because most of these leaders, like, everybody's working hard. Everybody just wants to be successful and have their projects go forward. But a lot of times they just want to understand what other leaders are doing. And, if they made mistakes, if they can save a couple mistakes, same thing that you've done with, peer guidance. It's like, hey, if I can save you guys some mistakes from what I've done, happy to share that. That's what people want. And so it's nice that we have, I think, another thing in the community. I have to say that because I built it, but I do believe that a rising tide raises all boats, and I'm very, very happy to have this one niche part in the community that I think drives a lot of value, and all the other parts of the community that drive value too.
No, I love it, and it does drive value. And thank you for doing this. As I said, we appreciate it. We love it. We need more people like you in our community. But I am really going to put you on the spot now. Yeah, on the spot. I'm changing my question for you.
I love it. Let's do
it. and this is, I know you're going to have a hard time with this one, and maybe you won't. I don't know. It's, and I enjoy these conversations. And again, thank you for coming on. Thank you for the Future Summit and everything that you do in our ecosystem. But if you had one reason a person should attend the Future Summit, what would it be? One reason.
Fuck.
Yeah. See,
hard when you drive it down to one.
I know, one.
If I'm wanting one reason, it's because they want to build. Going back to our tagline, the future belongs to those who build it. Like, I'm out here building this because I actually want to live in Calgary. I also want 5 kids and 160 acres. I know I'm not going to get that in Calgary, but I want to build a life for my family that I'll have in the future here in Calgary. And so for me, it's personal. I don't want to sit on the sidelines. I want to make sure that I'm doing everything possible in my control, that I can, to make sure that we have these opportunities in the future. And so for me, that's why I wake up and do it every day. I was even talking about this, like, after my last conference, DataCon, I was planning on hanging up my ropes and just like riding off in the sunset. And then I just had a number of influential people in my life be like, there's something here, you shouldn't give up now. Right. And, just think about it a little bit differently than you have in the past. And I continued to do that. And, really without a second look, I just continued on. So yeah, I think when you look at one thing that you'd get out of Future Summit, if you're looking to build, and you're not interested in sitting on the sidelines, like, this is the conference for you, because everyone who's there is a builder. Actually, Elena, who built one of the most used invoicing softwares that exists in the energy space, Open Invoice, from Credivira. I was talking to her the other day, and she was giving me some health advice as well, because I scratched my eye. She's telling me to go to the ER, but she's so sweet. She was telling me, she's like, I'm so happy to see other builders on the speaker stage, because it brings me a lot of hope that people are still invested in, not just, talking about stuff, but talking about what's tangible next steps on what I can do, how I can make this going on. So I'm super excited to bring a builders focused conference together, or summit. where leaders from all across different industries can come together and say, hey, this is how I'm building. This is my plan. This is what I want to do. You can tear it to shreds. You can partner on it. We can do deals, whatever it looks like. But this is how I'm building. And then you saw one of our future builders from our Future Builders program that we just recently launched in partnership with TKS, Big Brothers Big Sisters, and a few post-secondaries. That's super important. It's investing in the next generation. So I think the youngest future builder we have is 13. So if you see them at the summit, go say hi. They're super, super keen kids. I remember what I was doing at 13 and it wasn't building. Yeah, I know you're the same, Jade. And so, you know, when we think about it, you have all these people that are passionate, they're putting their time and their efforts in. Some are having successes, some are having failures, which I think is another form of success. But they're all focused on building. And so whether you're 13 building something to, you know, start a company or start an idea, or you're, you know, a legend in the industry who's built and built and built, this is the summit for you.
I love it. And that's a great answer. And it's, there are a lot of people building here, and they're continuing to build and building in different sectors, and the support and the people and the knowledge and everything is here, which makes Alberta one of the best places to be right now, especially in Canada, even North America. Yeah. But again, you know, and anybody who wants more information on the Future Summit, just click on the website. It's in the comments section, futuresummit.ai. You'll be able to go there. Josh, I really appreciate you coming on, sharing your knowledge, running this summit. It's something that, you know, I support. I'm already excited about next week. And I'm already excited about next year, even though we're not supposed to be thinking about it yet.
one battle at a time. I like that. Keep me focused. We got one more week to go, but thank you so much, Jade. It's always a pleasure hanging out and chatting with you. So thank you so much for the time today and for having me on.
No, absolutely. And again, Founders Coffee next week, Tuesday. The week after is going to be speaking about the Knowledge Center and what Azar does here. We're going to be at the STEM Innovation Academy, which is the old Smart Building, 7 a.m. November 25th. You know, come look at some of the stuff that the kids are building, and robotics and AI. Amazing facility, and Doug, it's going to be exciting. So Josh, good luck next week. We will see you when I get back from Toronto. And to everybody else, enjoy your Wednesday, and we will chat soon. Take care. Bye-bye.